Welcome back to another podcast of Thriving by Nature. I am your host, Bethany Stone, and I am really excited about today's topic. Today, we are going to be talking about believing in yourself. And I have so many experiences and so much excitement about this topic. So many stories that come to mind, so much, because if we don't believe in ourselves, we don't have anything. And we have to remember that. Like, you have to believe in yourself to progress. I think that a problem that a lot of us face right now as young children, as teenagers, as adults, is we go through these times of doubt. We go through these times where we really, really struggle with believing in ourselves. As a young child, a child doesn't think that they can jump off the side of a pool because they're scared. They're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And parents, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Jump, jump. And then they jump because an outward force, an outward presence gave them the strength to be able to make that leap. As you grow into teenagers, it's scary. It is scary to get your own job, your very first job, or to do driver's ed. I know that my kids are like, I can't do it. And with help and support and bolstering up, they learn that they can do it. Then, as an adult, sometimes our bolstering up has to come from within because of the experiences that we had growing up. We're able to boost ourselves and remember the skills that we've learned as children, as teenagers, and give ourselves our own pep talks. And sometimes they come from other people, and know that we can do it. Just do it. Just jump in. You can do it. There are so many great stories throughout history about people that had to really believe in themselves, even when people were against them, even when there was no hope for success. So, we're going to be talking about these amazing people that have made so much progress and changed our world. The first one I want to talk about is Louis Pasteur. Pasteur, it's French. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the story, but he was the person that came up with the rabies vaccine. And it was an interesting time because in France, dogs would get mad dog disease. And if they would bite someone, that person would get sick with the mad dog disease, foam at the mouth, and die. And it was a big deal because they had multiple animals running around with mad dog disease. And it was a real problem with these animals biting people, people getting sick and dying. And he knew that there was some kind of an invisible force that was killing these animals and infecting and spreading. He started doing research, and so many people thought he was crazy. Thought he was crazy for trying to figure out these invisible things, to try to figure out how in the world these invisible creatures were going from one person to another, from an animal to a person, and killing. So he did some research, and he thought that he had come up with a vaccine. And nobody wanted to test it. Well, there was a little boy, we'll call him Joey, and he came across a dog, and the dog was running up to him, and the dog ended up biting him 14 times. The dad knew after he got this dog away from his son that this dog had the mad dog disease, and he knew that his son was going to die. It was their only child. The Joey's mom read in the newspaper that Louis Pasteur found a cure for the mad dog disease. So they loaded up their carriage and they went all the way to France and they said, please help him. And he was able to try his vaccine on this boy and it healed him. He believed in himself enough, even when people were telling him, don't do it. You can't fix this. There's no way to fix this. But he believed in himself enough to keep going forward and was able to create a rabies vaccine that has been able to save people still to this day. Still, our dogs have to be vaccinated with the rabies vaccine, and we're able to keep people safe. We're able to have dogs as our pets because they're able to be safely in our homes, all because Lois Pasteur really believed in himself. We all come through times where there's going to be difficult things that happen. Life is hard. We all have difficult things. I know that when I was deciding to start my own business and my own company, that was difficult. It was hard. It was a difficult choice, but I believed in myself. I knew I had the skills. I knew I have the knowledge. I knew I was able to help so many other people when I taught in classrooms. I know that this was my passion, and I was able to give myself enough pep talks that I could jump off the side of the pool and decide, yes, this is what I'm going to do. It's going to be fine. I got this. And it has been. And it's been a journey, and it has been a passion and a love, and it fulfills me. Another great story that I think about is the journey of J.K. Rowling. She was destitute. Before Harry Potter, she was destitute. She was living um, in depression. Her mother had died. She was on welfare. She was on the streets. She was not living a very successful life. But she held on to her story. And even though she was turned down by publisher after publisher, she continued. And then finally, she made it. And she made it big. And a quote, I actually have it right here. It says, "It is impossible to live without failing." At, let me start again. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you could live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. She believed in herself so much that she continued to try and try and try to get her Harry Potter books published. And she did. And they inspired millions of people around the globe. They weren't just in the UK, they went everywhere, and they were a global success. So if you believe in yourself, you end up having a growth mindset. So there are two mindsets. I'm sure you've heard of them. There's the growth mindset, and then there is just the stagnant mindset. You're not moving, you are stuck, you're not progressing, you're just stuck. You're there. We want to be in a growth mindset, and that means that we have to be able to push ourselves. We have to continue to push ourselves in ways that make us uncomfortable. But we also need to believe in ourselves that when we're uncomfortable, that we're going to be able to grow. There is a study from the University of Stanford, and it was led by Carol Dweck, and she found the concept of the growth mindset. And she says the growth mindset emphasizes intelligence and abilities that can be developed through dedication and hard work. So if you want to have a growth mindset, know that there is work, there is dedication, there is commitment, but the benefits of it are huge. In her research, she found that students with growth mindset outperformed their peers simply because they believed in their capability to improve. When you believe in yourself, you are more likely to take on challenges, persist through difficulties, and ultimately achieve your goals. And isn't that what we all want to do? We ultimately want to achieve our goals. So as we continue, I want to go over this quote that Eleanor Roosevelt just said. Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." How many times have I told my children that nobody can make you feel that way? You choose to feel that way. You choose to dictate your worth. You can't let others dictate your worth for you. You decide. So how do we cultivate this belief in ourselves? How do we get that? It all starts with a self-awareness of our worth, a self-awareness of a self-awareness of acknowledging the things that we have been able to do, acknowledge the things that we've already accomplished. Every single person has accomplished hard things. They may be small hard things or big hard things. It doesn't matter. But when you know and you think about the hard things that you've been able to overcome and you think about those, it bolsters you up to be able to complete other difficult things. Think about the last hard thing that you accomplished. I think for me, it was making myself vulnerable enough to be able to take pictures of myself because I had a person asking me to take some pictures of me in my everyday life. And that was really, really uncomfortable for me. To be honest with you, I am more of like a person that I love to help and I love to support, and I am a great support person. And I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert. I am someone who can be in a group and I can be excited and I can be there, but I also like to just be alone and I like to have my way time. I like to fly under the radar. And I have learned that having a business and a coaching company, you actually cannot fly under the radar. I just want to magically help everyone. And it has been a difficult process for me personally to be able to expose who I am and show myself, which is weird. I know, but we all have things. We all have things that we have to overcome mentally that can make us sometimes feel less than. So let's take a moment. Think about the strengths that you have. This is something that helps me whenever I'm feeling like I'm getting into that vicious cycle and I'm having these negative thoughts. I sit down and I write down my strengths. I know I'm a good teacher. I know I'm a good coach. I know I'm a good mom. I know I'm a good cook. I know I'm a good gardener. I write down the things that I know about me. Write down the things that you know about you. And when you can recognize your strengths, these strengths work as a foundation for you to build self belief inside of yourself. So, work on affirmations. I think something that I love, love, love is that my husband and I, we write on the mirror. So, we have a big mirror in our bathroom, and he will write sweet things about me, like, you are the sunshine to my life on my side of the mirror. And I write little affirmation to him like, you make me smile every day. These little things, right? And we write them and then we erase them and then we write them. It's kind of like a game, but I can tell you that having these positive affirmations that we read about each other builds the confidence that you have inside of yourself. You build, and the more that you build that foundation, the more that you build this confidence, the better that you feel within, the better that you feel, and the more that you believe in yourself, and the more that you're able to help others because you believe in yourself, you're able to really progress and help others. And ultimately, I think that's what everyone wants to do deep down is be a light to people around them. I think that's what Lois Pasteur did. Look, Pasteur, why can I not say that today? Did, and he was a light. He really was. If we didn't have him, we would be having rabies still to this day. So think of affirmations. If you're not having them, somebody write your own affirmations, write them down yourself. Write down things like speak kindly to yourself. Repeat that I am capable. Every day in my commonplace book, I write, I take responsibility for all of my actions. That may or may not be a positive affirmation, but it is for me because it makes me very conscious of the actions that I take. And I love that. So the other thing that you can do is surround yourself with things that are positive. Have your life be positive. Do things that fill your cup. When you do that, you believe in yourself more. You put yourself in a growth mindset and you're able to really glow. Surround yourself with positive people and positive will come find you. The next one is set achievable goals. Set goals that you know that you can reach. Use the SMART format. If you're not familiar with the SMART format, look it up. It is everywhere. To set measurable goals. Set things that you know that when you accomplish them, it's just a stepping stone to something bigger and greater. So, as I wrap up today's little podcast, I just want you to remember that believing in yourself is not a one time event. It's something that you have to do every single day. Believe in yourself when you wake up, believe in yourself when you have lunch, believe in yourself when you have dinner, believe in yourself when you go to bed. Believe in yourself. Embrace all of the challenges along the way. Lean into your own strength and surround yourself with support. The last quote I want to leave you with is by Maya Angelou. She says, you alone are not enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. I didn't even say that right. You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. I thought that sounded funny, but it's true. You are enough. You have value just the way you are. Believe in who you are. So, thank you for joining me for another episode of Thriving by Nature. I hope that this episode helped cultivate you to believe in yourself and believe that you can do amazing things. You are more capable than you think. You are more valuable than you think. You are smarter than you think. You're prettier than you think. And women, you're skinnier than you think. Like, we have so much value. We need to recognize that. We need to believe in ourselves so that we can continue to move on with our lives and continue to be a light to people that we see. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Thriving by Nature.